君の笑顔が恋しくて星に願うのまた会えるよね
Ta-da! Hello, people. Hello. So I'm Kaylee. I'm from Bal, and then I will be hosting the stream instead of the Rana this year. So welcome to the rest streaming. And then sorry if my hosting is not good as much as Lana, but I will do my best. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah. And then I will introduce our teams for streaming today. So you guys can start introduce by you guys self. Yeah. Just doing popcorn thing. Yeah.
All right, my name is Brendan. I'm a senior animator on BAL, and today we'll be doing some live animation. So I'll be doing some animation, some simple stuff, and then eventually I'll pass it on to Alex, who I'll let him introduce himself.
I am Alex. I'm a senior animator on R&D, working on some unannounced stuff. And today I'll be doing some of the tech animation here with Brendan. Gonna show a little bit of the process, Maya to Unreal, some simple stuff, just to see this connection. And I'm gonna pass to Eric.
Hello. I'm Eric Kim. I'm part of the TFT team as an animator, obviously. And yeah, I'm just helping Kaylee run the stream. So let's bring it back to Kaylee.
Yeah, so today the Alex and Brendan gonna stream the how to make animation in Maya and then put it in engine, and then Eric and me gonna answer all the question, or we can talk in the chat. So please leave any the question you guys have it, so me and Eric can answer it while the Brendan focusing on the animation. So go Brendan, yeah. Show your
I'll go
stuff. Yes.
All right, you want to stream first, Alex, or?
Yeah. I'll go first because I'm gonna export the character and bring it to Unreal. Talk a little bit about the project we're gonna go over today before Brendan starts animating. So we have this little character here in Maya. It's a Q-Figgins rig, and we're gonna use the Unreal template, third-person template. So I just opened a brand new Unreal third-person template. And we're gonna replace this character here for our custom character and make a set of animations for the character. So first things first, how do we export the character properly to Unreal? I just checked and the scale was very tiny. If you see the scale 1, you can see by the grid. The grid is in centimeters. So the character is very tiny. So we're just going to scale it up to 20. And make sure to scale it up as well, Brennan, on your side. And we're going to export our character to Engine. As you see here, the rig is usually very organized. When you export the rig, this step is pretty important because a lot of people skip. You need to put the root outside of all the groups because the root of your character needs to be the top node when you're importing Unreal. And you need to also select the output skeleton. So we're gonna, not output skeleton, output mesh. So we're gonna select the root, select the mesh, and we're gonna select hierarchy to make sure to get all the joints. File, game exporter. And here on our game exporter, we're gonna export the model, export selection. Choose the directory. It's always very important to keep it very organized. That's why I'm using on my desktop. Very organized. And I'm gonna go to the little red bot character folder, export. I'm gonna choose this folder, and the file name is gonna be Little Red Robot Rig. Cool. Now I'm gonna export this guy, jump back into my Unreal editor, and inside characters, you see I have mannequins, and I can probably delete this folder. I'm gonna create a new folder called Lil Robot. And inside this folder, I'm gonna create a new folder called Rig. Inside this folder, I'm gonna import my character. So I go here on my desktop, and let me get the latest, export rig. So when I open it here, the import content is gonna pop up. I'm gonna set everything to default. Just hit export and just click and drag. Actually, I need to import with a scale, of course. So I'm gonna re-import with dialog, scale 20, import, and cool. We have our character here in game. You see I click and drag to the viewport. We can see our character there. Now Brandon can go over and start animating, but we do have our character here in game. Now take over.
I have one question, Alex. Is a game exporter is already installed in Maya, right? We don't need to do.
Yes, if you don't see it there, go to the plugin manager, because sometimes it's turned off.
Turn
Go to
off.
plugin manager, you search there. Sometimes it's turned off, so you can just turn back on.
Okay, got it. I think the reason why I missed it.
I have a
But-
question as well.
Yeah, can go. Eric.
Is there a difference between the Unreal exporter and exporting as an FBX?
I don't know. I always export as FBX. You can export just regular FBX, or you can use the game exporter, but I don't know the Unreal exporter. I never used it. Usually the companies have a custom exporter. Like at Riot, we have a specific exporter for different teams, and it's usually FBX file. So
Okay, that's been my experience as well.
Cool. You can start, Brandon. Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right, so this little dude's pretty cool. It has a bunch of controllers here for the legs, which are kind of IK system here, automatic, which is kind of cool. So this dude is really appealing. So by itself, like this could be the idle pose, but I think we can add a little bit more personality to him. So kind of what I want to do is just see what's the minimum thing I could do to just like add a little bit more personality to this dude. And I think what I want to do is just kind of like tilt him to the side a little bit. Doesn't require much, but this might be now his new little default pose could be kind of to the side. So I put the weight to the side here, and just thinking about what would he need to do to like catch himself. So I put a little leg to the side there, and I'll grab all the controllers, and we don't have too much time. So as you can see, I can grab all the geometry, but if I click this button over here, it doesn't let me click the geometry anymore, which is pretty cool. I'm just gonna put a little keyframe in here. And now this will be the new idle for the character, idle pose. It's kind of cool. So I think what I want to do is I'm gonna start with an idle animation. And then I'm gonna try to make them run, which would be kind of cool. And then I'll probably, by that point, I'll give the file back to Alex just to see if we can put both of those in engine. And then I'll continue to animate maybe an attack. Let's see if we have time for that or not. So there's two different types of animations that we can make in a game. One of them is cyclical, so cycles, and one of them, other ones aren't. So the first couple that we're gonna make are actually cycles. So what I like to do on cycles is probably do this in another layer, just in case I need to like put on an offset curve or something. But what we're doing here is pretty simple. So let's just try to do it without it by now to not complicate ourselves. Cool. So the first thing I want to do, I think, is I'm gonna do a little rhythm to this little dude. So if oh, we're 24 frames per second, we don't need that. We need to be in 30, which is kind of good. Anytime you switch from 24 to 30, if you put a keyframe, it'll just be in an odd number. So I went ahead and snapped that keyframe there, so it remains in 1. And then I don't know, like this is 1 second over here. So if he did this, like if he kind of bobs for a second, that could be an idle. That could be kind of cool. So this 30 frames here, and then he's just kind of cycling in and out. Doesn't feel too robot-like though. So I think what I want to do is maybe kind of hold him up here for as much as possible before hitting down. So click. And then once he hits down, maybe he rebounds a little bit. So I'm just gonna let it here, and then I'm gonna have him tick up a little bit. So it'll be like click. All right, I'm gonna open up the graph editor here just to lessen what I'm doing. You can check here what's happening. I'm just gonna go ahead and maybe as he's doing this, so he'll kind of come up. So now he just kind of rebounds. Bloop. It's kind of the same as down here, but up here. Let's see. Kind of like a little ticking motion is what I would expect. Not sure if I'm not sure if this is everybody can put their own custom music on, I guess. I'm not sure. Watching other people animate, it's always like, it sounds kind of cool. And then you're like, why is this guy so slow? Oh.
And then Brandon is only person is like using the weighted, like the curve in our team.
Makes it a little faster for me.
Yeah.
What a madman.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're talking about is that I can stretch these guys here to make a curve be a little bit more violent if I needed. If I didn't have that, if I go to non-weighted tangents, then everything would require an extra keyframe if I wanted a more violent curve. So something like that. It just depends on how you want to work, I guess. Oh, we
Okay,
got
there's
Lana
one.
here. Awesome.
Yeah, Rena is here.
All right.
She's supporting
And
us.
then I'm going to maybe do a little overlap. So I'm going to rotate this dude a little bit forward as he comes in. Whoop. Oh, I want to pull this guy back.
The question is weighted tangent or non-weighted? Which one is best? Like, I'm using non-weight. How's about you, Alex?
I have the definite answer, non-weighted. of
Non-weighted,
course.
of course. Only,
Yeah.
I think
It's
only
not-
Brandon
not
was
even
in
an
our team.
option weighted tangent.
So if you guys
No.
want to use the weighted, like just watch it the Brandon's extreme.
I actually like weighted tangents sometimes. Sometimes I'll turn it on, but
Oh, okay.
it's situational. Very situational. I always start off in auto tangent.
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna do like a little version of stepped here. So click, 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 click. Oh, I kind of like that. Little texture on the way down, texture on the way up. So instead of having it stepped, I'm just gonna go ahead and do a little step up, step down. Missing a little bit of texture here. And I'm kind of doing this just because it feels a little bit more robotic. Click, 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 click. Kind of like this. All right. So I think one cool thing that we could do to idols is, let's just say if we duplicate this guy, copy, paste this. One cool thing we could do is, so now there's 2 cycles of it over here, and we could make it look kind of this way on one, and then halfway through we could make them look the other way. So now we go that boop,
Oh, so cute. I love it.
little cutie, and maybe that's even too frequent. So I'm gonna grab these guys here, and I'm gonna make a third one. Now he looks forward, and he goes, and he continues. So it's less of a time interval for when he does it. And then one thing I like to do is kind of overshoot these guys a little bit. I'm using this little tween machineer here. So now, all right. And I think that'll be my idle, just to move on to other stuff. So just hit the save button over there, just in case it crashes.
Yes.
And now I'm gonna try to make this dude walk. So all my animation here is from 0 to 90, or it should be 90. Oh, what is this? Snap. 88, because I started on frame 1. Okay, that's fine. So 88 frames is the idle, which is cool. I'm gonna go ahead to frame 100. And I'm gonna mark it there, maybe to 99. So this is just kind of residual over there. And then it's gonna be interesting. Now we want him to go forward. So my instinct right now, and it may work or it may not, would be to kind of lean this guy forward as he's going forward. So now I'll have a little, I'm going forward position for it. And then I'm not 100% sure how like frequent is he gonna step. So I'm just gonna guess, I don't know, maybe 12 frames. Why not? So he's gonna kind of scooch his little leg back on the ground and then bring it forward and up. It'll be like, boop, boop. Feels about good. Once we add the other legs, I'm sure that we'll have a better timing of it. Maybe it's too slow or too fast. But one thing I do know is that as it's in the floor going forward, it's going to probably want to be in linear tangent because it's going to be traveling at a constant speed. So I'm just going to go ahead and address that right away. And then as it's going on the ground, I want to make sure that it does not go up until it needs to. All right, so that's kind of cool. We got this guy kind of going forward. It's pretty cool. Now what we want to do maybe is have it kind of go down, do the weighted tangent version of this, is that we're probably gonna have it go down on a bit of I'm breaking the tangents here just to go ahead and make sure that it just kind of like does a little stomp. So I'm kind of easing out of the beginning here. And this could kind of ease in and out over here. And yeah. Whoop. All right. So I've never animated a three-legged run. So I kind of really don't know how to offset this guy, but we'll figure it out. What I think I want to do is I'm going to grab the translate Y and Z on this guy here. And I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And I think I want to paste it here. Ooh. If there's any questions on anybody?
You're
Let me know.
making walk cycle or
I'm making
attack?
kind of like a run cycle.
Run cycle. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Let's see.
So Cashin,
Now
you
we
got
have-
like to the team. How's about you? And you guys make a run cycle. You guys are doing the fit first or the loot first, like usually, like because Brandon is doing the fit first. Yeah.
I'm doing the feet first because this guy has 3 legs, and I
Yeah.
don't quite know, like, is it going to be right, left, right, left? What happens with the back one? I don't quite know. So I want to look at the legs first before I determine what to do with it. But I can see it working the other way as well. I don't know. What would you do, Alex, on this one?
I would probably do the COG first
Oh.
and then create a nice rhythm and then just do whatever with the legs.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll probably look at some quadruped, maybe like gallop or canter foot pattern, where the back replaces the position of the front and they are offset by a few frames.
That's an interesting way to do it. I think what I'm just going to do is mathematically put this guy on the middle of this. So the front and the side are now kind of walking one first, one second. And then I guess this guy, we could just kind of offset it by the middle of it. So if that one was 12 frames offset, it could just be like 3 or 4. So now it'd be like dip, dip, dip. I think that kind of works. So the loop will be from 112 to 124. I think. Let's see if my math is correct here. Dip, 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 dip. It kind of works. I think it's 125 actually. That'll be the first one. Oh no, 123.
For
Cool.
Lana's question, I would probably, like I said, look up some reference on quadruped
Yeah.
before starting jumping into Maya, or like Spider, just some small research on foot placement, and then I'll see. It's tricky because sometimes people get too attached to foot placement and up and down, but I'll see a nice rhythm of the COG, and then work through the legs based on that research.
Fair enough. I like that. one thing I'm guessing is that as you know, one foot is lifted up, the body is going to have to compensate to the other side. So over here, it's going body to the this way to the screen right, and then body to the screen left on this foot up. And I've also kind of rotated the head a little bit to kind of try to stabilize it over there. So bloop, 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 bloop. And now what it's missing is a little bit of up and down. So I would assume that every time he hits his little foot down, then there could be a little down of the body. So over here, and I think I'm just going to pay attention to the first front feet. So here we go. So this will be like a up, down, up, down.
So cute.
All right.
So cute.
I think that kind of works as a run. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And I'm going to pass it off to Alex to see if we can get this working in Engine. And then we'll do a poll to see. Oh no, Alex wants a melee attack. And then we'll do an attack next. It'll be kind of cool. So I'll stop sharing my screen here. Well, actually, I'll leave this guy going over here while I.
Yeah, send me the files.
And then where did you guys find this leak file? Is it in public or?
Yeah, it's a Kyle Figgins rig, so you can put that in the chat, Alex, if you want.
Yeah, you can put it because some people want to do it. Yeah.
Do you send me the file, Brandon?
Not yet. Give me 1 second.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna bring it in the idle and the run of the character, put in Unreal, and then we're gonna start like actually thinking as a gameplay animator that you need to check like how your game is, like the purpose of your game, how your game works, and start making adjustments even to your idea to make sure you can have this working in the game context. For example, let's see our character speed or character movement and see if the lag is like, is this enough reach? Is this too fast, too slow? Can we change our character movement or should we change our character animation? And so on. As soon as I get the files.
All right, this thing is uploading. It's going pretty slow. All right. Sent. Oh, share with people. And there we go. All right, let me know if you can open that. All right, we got some questions here. We got some questions. Would you look at gameplay and figure out how fast the capsule is moving? And would you match all of that? I would assume that is what Alex was responding to. But yeah, I'm just guesstimating here, to be honest. Maybe we need to do like way more reaching of the legs. Maybe this dude needs to be like all the way forward.
Chaz Animation's question kind of brings up a good point though. In your guys' experience, do you tend to get the information on the speed of a cycle beforehand or after when you create an animation? Because this is usually driven from design, right?
Yeah. Yeah, usually it'll be before. But since we're doing our own little nonsense here, I think it'll be some trial and error. If we don't want to adjust the game, we can adjust the game speed in the engine as well.
I've had some situations where the speed changes after the animation was made. So yeah.
All right, so I'm sharing my screen here. I got this run. I have notes.
My 10-minute run.
I have notes. And I got the idle. I also have notes. No, I'm joking. So the idle ends on 88, right?
Well, I think that your The idle ends at 88. Yeah.
Cool. Good ways to set some bookmarks if you wanna know there's the Maya regular Maya bookmark, and we can just name this as idle, put in a color 88, and that way you know your idle is here, and the run starts on
It's going to
112.
be 112 to 123.
112 to 123. I'm also going to bookmark this run. Organization is always very important.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm going to do a little file cleanup while Alex does this, just in case.
And then I'm going to go on Game Exporter. Now I'm going to go here on Animation Clips tab. I don't need to move the root out of the skeleton. I can just select the root controller. Don't forget to select hierarchy to make sure you get everything. And I'm going to create the clips. First clip is going to be idle. And that's going to be 1 to 88. And the second clip is going to be run. And that's going to be 112 to 123, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to put a prefix that's going to be little robots underscore. That way it's little robot underscore idle and little robot underscore run. I'm going to go on the same export folder. I'm going to choose this folder. And I'm going to change to export selection. Cool. Export successful. We go back to Unreal. So my Unreal closed from lack of memory while I was out. Brandon was animating. I reopened and I re-imported. And because I re-imported now, you see the character is going to have texture. Because before I was importing without materials and textures, but it's the same thing. On the import, it was just checked off. So you just check it in. And I'm going to come here, import, create a new folder, animations. Here is where we're going to figure out if our scaling is being an issue or not. I always have issues with scale. So let's open our run and our idle together. And on this import content window here, we're just going to get a skeleton. We're going to get our robot. The scale is 20, but you scale your character to 20, right, Brandon, on Maya?
Yeah, it has a on the scale amount on the
So I don't know if we should keep this at 1 or 20. I'll keep it at 1 because the animation is scale. If this doesn't work, then we re-import and see what happens. I think that worked. I'm just clicking and dragging here to the viewport to see what happened. Cool. Now we have our idle. If I double click, you see the idle that was animated in Maya. It's here in Unreal. And if I double click on the run, we have also the run here. Cool. So I'm going to go to the blueprints and I'm going to create a new animation blueprint. So new animation blueprint. I'm going to select my skeleton, the red robot, and the parent class is going to be anim instance. Create. And I'm going to name this ABP for animation blueprints. Little robots. Cool. Now I'm going to go on my main blueprint, my character blueprint, BP third person character, and I'm going to change our skeletal mesh to our red robots. And on the animation mode, we're going to be using animation blueprints, and we're going to change the ABP to the ABP we just created, little robots. If I compile and close this, when I play the game, we're going to see our character, but no animations are currently hooked up. Only the controllers that came with our template. So what I'm going to do here is start hooking up the animation on the animation blueprint. So if I double click my ABP, you see that we have our output pose and our event graph. there's nothing hooked up at the moment. What we're gonna do is hooking up our state machine. So what is the state machine? State machine is where you connect all your animations into this blueprint that is going to tell you what the character needs to do as you input the commands. So first we're going to create a new state machine. Cool. And I'm going to call it locomotion. And I'm going to connect this to my result. Inside the state machine, if I compile, you'll see that we have those little dots going to the result. It goes from left to right. And there's a warning because it's not connected to anything, the entry. We need to create our states, add a state. One is going to be idle, and the next state is going to be run. Cool. And now we can connect our entry point to the idle. So every time the locomotion blueprint, the locomotion state machine gets active, it connects to the idle, and we need to connect the idle to the run as we start running, and connect back the other way around, the run to the idle. Cool. So inside the idle, I'm gonna click and drag my animation here, connect to the output pose, and here I'm gonna make sure to turn on loop animation because it's a looping animation, so it doesn't stop in there. If I double click, I can just jump back up. And on the run, I'm gonna connect to my run, again, loop animation. If we compile this, it's gonna give us some errors because how does the game knows that we need to go from idle to run? We need to create a logic for that. And with that, that's where we use the event graph. The events are everything that happens on this blueprint. So the state machine is where everything's connected. The events is where everything happens. So here's where I don't quite remember the logic, but we need to get the pawn owner, and we need to get the character movement components. So get movement component, and we need to get, do you remember, Brandon? We need to get here, does the chat remember?
Outsourcing into the chat.
Vector, no, get vector length. No, vector length is after. Get, so see, I should have planned this before.
Vector length is chasmation.
But is it the vector length from the movement components? Get the walk speed.
Get the walk speed, Skylar. Skylar's always saying.
Get the max speed. They keep changing. It's not walk speed anymore. It's max speed. And then we get the vector length. Or they change it as well.
Yeah.
No, just the max speed. And we promote this to a variable. Do we need to get the length here?
Skylar says yes.
But we don't have the length anymore.
We don't.
This is Unreal 5.7. Because it's not a vector, it's a float. I believe we can promote this to a variable, and we can just check if we're, so movements. And here we can check if this is it's moving or not. We can actually set this variable and then create a branch that if the movement, we get this one. If this is higher, greater than 1, we just turn on the variable. So we create a new Boolean variable called isMoving. And then we're gonna set this to, if this is true, we set moving. If it's false, we set moving to, oh, get velocity. They simplified, that makes complicated for us. So let's see if this might not work. So if it's moving, it goes to run. If it's not moving, so this, according to Skylar, this is not gonna work.
We cannot see. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's,
Oh.
yeah, no, it's just gonna be always true. So we do need to get velocity. Cool. Thanks, the chat.
Outsourcing.
So get the velocity and then the vector length. Oh yeah, so get velocity. And then vector length. And now we can do the same thing. I believe so.
Compile.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
thanks.
All right.
Let's ship
Thanks,
it.
Tess.
Thanks,
Tess
chat.
and Skylar. Cool. But we see it's sliding a lot
Yeah.
because on our blueprint, if we go to the character movements, and you see the character move here, the max speed that we have, if we just type the speed, our max walk speed is 600 centimeters per second. And that means that here in Maya, the best way to know that, it's making sure your Maya is set up to centimeters. So you go on the preference on the bottom screen right corner, go here to settings, make sure working units is centimeters. And then you can just say, okay, 1 second is 30 frames per second. So it's 30 FPS. 1 second is going to be 30 frames. So from frame 100 to frame 130, I'm going to move in translation Z 600 centimeters. So that is going to be exactly our speeds in game. Of course, I'm going to make this linear. And now Brandon needs to fix his animation because it's lighting. But this is our speed in game. And we can play around here like, oh, maybe we want the character not to be that fast. Maybe 300 will be a good run speed. And 300 is a little bit better. We still sliding a little bit. That's where I'm gonna go back and forth between my gameplay mind and my creative mind, where, okay, the character needs to move that much. So is this the best way to do the footsteps, or should be small jumps, or should it be maybe just bigger? These tangents are just killing me when I open. So maybe I actually need the character to just move further. So that's what Brandon will be working on to make sure it connects well. The other thing we need to do is also create some kind of, while Brandon is working on the walk, what I can do is create some blends. Yeah, file sharing. Tell me about it. So I have my idle animation here. And I have my run animation, which starts on frame 112. So I'm gonna create a nice idle to run. So I'm gonna copy this idle pose here. We're doing everything in just one file, which is great, but whenever you're working, when you're working like a game jam, something like this, it's okay to like do this. But whenever you work on a project, make sure to split your files and organize it. Oh yeah, to change the walk speed in engine. Good pointer there, Chess. You just change the walk speed. You just go to this number here and let's change it to 300 and compile. And now the character is gonna be too slow for me. But
Yeah, I think let's split the difference and go 450 because 600 is going to be. Well, I guess we could scale the animation.
450? Yeah, no, let's do 450. Yeah, 450 is good.
Yeah.
But you see that we have this, as I start and I stop my animation, you see that there's 0.2 seconds here of blending between the idle and the run, which makes it look natural. It's cool. And that was done by the ABP. When I put the idle to run here, transition, on the blend, they change it now and they actually put an S there to show you that it's seconds.
All right. I'm adjusting the walk here. Not sure if we want to do this.
So you see here on the blend settings, the duration is 0.2 and the curve of the duration. So if I change this to 0, for example, it's just gonna snap between characters idle and then just starts walking. 0.2 coming back, but when I start, it just snaps. So that is this duration here. But we can also put a blend between those two. That will be an idle to run animation. And that's what I have there in Maya. But Brandon, if you're working on your stuff, you want to share your screen.
Sure. All right, there's a few problems to solve here. So this is 450. I made a little cube here just because I guess my brain works that way. And this little cube is going to represent where this leg lands. So doesn't really matter. It's just a little marker. So this is 450 units forward, and it's going to end up over here. So what I want to do is I guess I can do one for each one of these feet. And this is just a little placeholder of me saying, all right, here's where I want to start from. And then this guy over here, 112, we got this guy, and he's scooching back. And by the middle of this walk, we want it to be all the way over there, which is not going to happen. So what I want to try to do is maybe make this walk twice as fast. So I copied the walk over here just to have these clean keyframes. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and smush this to half. Why not? It's really dirty. And except for you. I don't want you. You want to still be here. Okay, and here it's a little bit closer too. But what I want to happen is that each one of these, as it's kind of doing its thing, it'll stay there until it needs to move forward. Then this will be kind of up, and then it'll go back down here. Oh, something happened here. Control Z all this. So it starts here. And oh, give me a second. What's happening here? Okay, because the next frame over is this guy. Oop. Okay, cool. Now it all makes sense. Okay, so this guy here is now going to be halfway through here. We'll snap it. Oop. And then this guy, copy pasted it over. So here's my graph editor. Here's what I'm seeing. So from frame 1 to 30 is 450 units. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And I just put this here just to line it up with the middle. I'm going to delete all this later. Kind of doesn't matter. But this dude here, this guy, I kind of need it to be close to this guy over here, which tells me that maybe 450, even at the walk being half speed, might be too much of a distance to cover. But we'll try it anyway. It'll be this guy here, and this guy over here, and boop, back down. So do this, and then this guy over here. Gonna do the same thing, but this guy will kind of go down to here, and here's where it needs to maintain itself. So this guy here, as it goes back, it's gonna maintain it kind of in the same spot. And I'll polish this later. But now at least this guy is anchoring kind of to where it needs to be. All right. Now we have a 4-frame run cycle. Oop. Seems a bit hasty. Boom, and then this guy's gonna land here. Yeah, and then this guy needs to be all the way back here on the down. So I think 450 might be a little bit too fast there, Alex, but we could try that.
I'm the designer. Figure out.
Figure it out. We might have to make him hop.
When in doubt, turn it into a gallop.
Right? Yeah, maybe the down place. So let's do a rethinking here of everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just delete everything. Bye. And it'll be the same kind of position here. And what's gonna happen is I'm gonna do
Technically, you
8
can also
frames.
scale the character up, make him bigger.
Technically, we could.
But the designer
This is
wouldn't like
true.
that, so.
Yeah, no, but it's okay. We can figure it out here. So over here, we could have this dude go as far back as we can, boop, and then spend as much time in the air as we need it to. And then land kind of further forward. I'm just going off of the leg here. Boop. And then we'll copy this guy over then to the other dudes.
Chasmation is asking, smaller and faster steps, can you cheat it rather than make it real?
This is true. We could. So I am kind of cheating it here because we just have like 3 frames on the contact. me try this guy first before throwing things out the window. We could also, it's true, we could make more little steps on it. Whoop. All right, I think we'll live with this.
When in doubt,
This-
smear it.
I'll let Brendan figure that out. I'm gonna share my screen again.
All right, go for it.
Have a little bit of peace there. So, meanwhile, I see Lena's question. I'm gonna get to that pretty soon. But I was just working on a idle to run. So you see, I got my first post from the idle, and I got my first post for the run. This is gonna change, of course, because we're still working on the run. And I just made like a start animation. So the robot just a little jump and then gets into the idle. I'm gonna export this. So I put one more on my animation clips here, frame 140 to 156. 6. Cool. Export. Let me select the root, select the hierarchy, export selection. Cool. Now I'm gonna go into my Unreal editor. Come here on the animations, and I'm gonna import the idle to run. You see here I have it imported already, but I'm gonna re-import with dialog as if I'm importing it for the first time. Cool. Memory pressure warning. That's not good. And now I'm gonna go back to my ABP. And I'm gonna put this idle to run. So basically I want, once I hit moving forward, play an animation that goes from idle to run. So I add a new state, idle to run. And I'm gonna connect my is moving to this state instead. So basically I'm on idle, I want to run, I go to idle to run. So I go to this new animation, and I'm gonna put it here on my result. Cool. And from idle to run, if I finish playing this animation, I go to run. So on this transition rule, I don't need any rule actually. I can just click on the arrow and use automatic rule. What is the full name here? Automatic rule based on sequence player in state. So you turn this on, and what this is gonna be is it's gonna ignore anything that you have inside. And as soon as this clip finished, it's just gonna go over to run. If I compile and now I play my game, the character does a little hop when it's going from idle to run. It's a cool little hop, but there's a problem here. If I just click, it's not too bad of a problem. But the thing is, if I am on idle to run, and then I stop the character, let's debug this. So let's watch our character. So if I just click in here, you see that the character goes all the way to run to then go back to idle. So it's playing animation that shouldn't be playing because we need to connect it back from idle to run. If you have a longer idle to run, you're gonna get stuck on that state. Imagine the character jump and does something else. If you stop, you're gonna get stuck on that state because you're gonna have to finish that to go to run and then come back to idle. So instead, we're gonna make sure that we're connecting idle to run also back to idle. So if you're not moving, so I'm gonna use the same transition rule that I have here. I'm actually gonna share this transition rule to not moving. So if I'm not moving, I just go back to idle. And we can do the same for a run to idle. So the character stops and does something a little fun. We can go back to Maya and do that. But now, as we play here, and a great way to debug is just coming here and selecting our character, and you can see in real time actually what is being played. So now when I just do this little hop, I just go back and forth between idle and idle to run. And as I start moving, I just go to the run loop and back to idle. Cool. How is that going there, Brendan?
Stop focusing. Brendan?
Yeah, Brendan is
Freezing?
focused.
I think he
Oh,
has
he might
a
be
freezing.
frozen.
Yeah,
Oh,
frozen.
no.
And okay, so that's where I'm just gonna continue talking here. That's where you can find like areas to put more personality and more making your character more unique. It's making those very like custom blends. So of course you're gonna have a personality run to your character, but here is where you actually can make some fun little fidgets that will add value to the character, and it's not gameplay impactful because it's just in your locomotion. So I'm gonna try to do the opposite now. That is gonna be the run back to idle. Brendan's gone. Run back to idle and imagine, let's think about it. Maybe the character just slides a little bit, go forward, don't break any tangents, and settle. I don't have any bot on this computer, so my shortcuts are not working. But we can figure out animation is the same everywhere. So I want kind of like, and then settling it back. I don't like when the character just like snaps into the idle pose. So what I like doing is actually getting a big piece of the idle. So for example, I'm gonna get here from, I don't know, frame 60, 61 to 88. Just gonna copy this and I'm gonna paste this here. So that way I have like this. I don't actually, I should have baked this. IO sharing. That's what you do. Anyone has any questions so far, or you guys good?
Where's Brendan?
Brandon, it's clocked out.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
he's back.
Yeah,
It's gone.
Did you get Maya crash or?
internet is no, my internet just went out.
Yeah, Maya is okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay.
I thought it was
Almost.
just like 6 p.m. Brandon's just like, okay, I'm done.
No.
Well, I have a question for you, Alex.
Oh,
What
yeah.
are the pros and cons of animating everything in one file versus having separate files for your different states, such as a locomotion file, a jump file, and attack file, versus having them all in one timeline?
It's better to have separate for organization's sake, because if you need to have something being retargeted or re-exported, you'll update the rig, or the TA team needs to do something. It's always better if everything is just organized on their own files instead of everything just one big timeline. Also, file density, like if you have more keyframes, the file starts getting a little bit too messy and inconsistent. It crashes more often. And just best practice, I guess. I say that, but I'm a person that likes to have a lot, like everything on the same timeline. But usually what I work is I do my ideation pass, like a big timeline. And then once I like, okay, I hit my ideation, I know what I'm gonna do, then I just organize my files, split in several different files.
Thanks. We got another good question. What about animating each anim in one scene but on individual animation layers? Would that help with blending or mixing?
Oh no, I don't use layers. I hate layers.
I'm using
love
layers,
layers.
but I'm gonna make a separate the frames. Yeah, just for in case. Yeah.
Layers not for me.
I actually have seen someone do their animations, like individual animations on different layers, and I thought that was a little psycho. But
Marcus
I know-
does that on our
Yeah,
team.
Marcus, our manager. Because I
Layers are
learned
very
I learned the overlay the layers, like make a new animes like in the each like different layers. Yeah. Mhm.
I think there was like a very good organization sense about that setup though. And layers are I personally use layers a lot on certain things such as like fixes, especially if things are baked. And if you do mocap and Maya, I think layers are like mandatory.
All
I
right,
disagree with all.
Each
But
their
yeah,
own. Everyone has their own method. There's no right or
it's
wrong
just my
answer.
opinion.
Yeah.
No, it's
It
valid.
happens to be correct.
Yeah, even you guys like Alex is animating is FK, so like all people
yeah.
have all the
Always
different.
okay.
Yeah,
Always.
even weapon holding animation, so it's very different.
all right, Alex, let's try out this nonsense. I sent you a file.
Before I get into that, let me just put the run to idle. I just animated here real quick. So I'm gonna do the same process. I have to agree with that, Lena. So I'm gonna import my run to idle. Same process, importing here, selecting the skeleton. Make sure we're importing on the right skeleton. And create a new state. Run to idle. And then we're gonna do the same process. This one is gonna go here. This one is gonna go here. This is automatic rule. And this run to idle goes here. And we're gonna see if this is working.
Ooh,
Huh? Now there's a little bit of a,
love it.
but there's one bug here that is, if I don't know why I can't alt tab. Let's watch our blueprint here. And you see that if I stop and I start walking while I'm on my run to idle, the character is just staying in the same pose, sliding. So this is happening because our run to idle is not connected to our idle to run. And our run to idle is also not connected to our run. So that's where it starts getting spider webby, because we need to do the same here. For example, idle goes to idle to run. Idle to run, if you stop, instead of going back to idle, you actually go back to the run to idle. And if you are stopping and you start moving again, you're actually gonna go back to idle to run. And we're gonna use the same rule that is moving. So let's also share this rule. Moving. Cool. So now this one is moving, moving, automatic. And now if we compile, now if we just instantly stop, we have this breaking. And if we start, we have the little jump again. And that is pretty cool. And that's what players love doing, those little spammable things. Now you can go jumping with the character. All right, Brandon, wanna send me the FBX so I can just replace it here?
Yep, I'll send you the FBX.
Then we have.
We have another question. For animations in one file or timeline, how do you keep track of the first and last key tangent weights for looping animations? Also, do you leave dead frames in between each animation?
For looping animation, I like keeping 3 loops and I use the one in the middle. That way the tangents are flowing from before and after. Because if you just start on one dead frame and ends on one dead frame, you need to like move the stuff around. And dead frames, yes, I leave some dead frames between, and I like to bookmark it the same way. I think you sent me the MA, Brandon.
I did. This was before you asked for the
Okay.
FBX. All right, I want to make sure that the settings here that you have match the ones that I have here. So I'm gonna ask for a refresher here of how you had it. So which exporter are you using?
A game exporter.
Which one's that one?
So
Okay.
select the root
Yep.
skeleton.
Yep.
Select hierarchy.
The
Select is on the Maya on the top.
yeah, got it. Got the
And
hierarchy.
then go on File, Game Exporter. File on the top left. Yeah. Game Explorer is under sent to Unreal.
Why am I blind? uh,
Maybe
Let's see.
if there is no, you have to turn on the plugin.
Yeah, maybe.
Plugin.
Yeah, go on Settings, Plugin Manager. Yeah, that's a great example because some people ask me like, "Oh, I don't have it."
Perfect. All right. Boom. Cool. File. Game export. Okay, there it is. Awesome. Sweet. And then we got animation clips. And then we'll do a new one, correct?
Yeah.
How do I do a new one? New one here?
Maybe
The-
plus button.
On the right.
This
Oh,
guy?
yes.
I've never used this guy before. This
No,
is
no,
gonna
no. It's
be
not there.
save button.
No. Cancel this.
Okay,
You see the plus? Go down with your mouse.
this guy. Oop.
No, down. A little
Ooh.
bit
Yeah,
more.
that one.
No, a little bit more down.
No.
Oh, not that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, yeah, that one,
Cool.
correct.
Run.
Do you
And
get the
then
time? Yeah. So the
and then
prefix should be Leo Robot underscore on the down. No,
okay.
not there.
I got it. Cool.
Yeah, perfect. And then
So you put little robot because it was little red bot.
just little robot.
Okay.
LIL robot.
And we're gonna do here my desktop, and we're going to do this guy. Choose. I'm gonna export this. Boom. And then oh, that's taking a long time for a little robot.
Did you change to export selection instead of export all?
Probably not. Let's see. Export selection. Boom. Okay.
Oh, you need to select again hierarchy. Yeah.
Select. When you're doing live stream, your brain just dies on you.
And then your first time using the game explorer, I think the reason why.
No, it's not the first time.
Oh, it's
I
not
just
first time?
on this computer. Yeah,
Got it.
I thought it was by default. So I don't know what happened to see. Okay, boom. All right. My terrible run animation there, Alex sent it to you.
Awesome. All right, so I'm gonna replace this on the same FBX folder. And then I can just re-import. I want to show the workflow because that's what you're gonna do a lot of your time animating for games. It's actually going back in Maya and then going to Unreal, and you're gonna come here into your animations and then like run re-import animation.
Very cute.
And it's the same time length.
No, it's a little bit shorter. So I shaved off, I think, 3 frames. So now it's 112 to 119, and the other one was to 120 what?
Cool. Yeah, that detected. So now we can just play the game, and it's
It's cute. It looks like octopus also.
Oh, yeah. All right. So now with this one, it feels like it's too forward. So now I would just push it back a little bit. And then back and forth, it'll look good.
yep.
But we got it in game, which is kind of interesting.
Ooh, we made a game. Let's ship it.
Ship it. Shippable.
Let's
Now we just have a big list of things to add. That's the cool thing about game dev and making your projects, because you just keep adding things. You're like, oh, now I want to make a jump. I want to make a landing. I want to make the character go slower, go faster, maybe sprinting, maybe like flying, gliding. And this state machine is just gonna keep getting bigger and bigger and more complex. But it's always great to just like start with the basics and then keep like slowly take one piece of new project, like, oh, just jump, just focus on that and start building this whole logic. And it's pretty cool.
Cool. Like awesome the demo, you guys, Alex and Brandon. I think already 6:20, so making attack animation gonna be too long. So I think we can wrap the animation
We'll
demo.
shelve it.
Yeah, right in. And then you guys have any question we can answer like before going out. Yeah, the chat. You guys can type it.
Just so we're not leaving Chasmation hanging, they ask, can you talk about exporting the run animation in place versus with root motion?
I don't know. I asked Tyler there.
From my experience, for games, you almost always want it to be in place because if you do it with the root motion, it'll usually leave the capsule in engine. But a lot of, and I think Unreal also actually has a thing where even if you do it with root motion, there is a way to sort of, it has some weird like technology where it'll like, even though the animation's in root motion, it'll keep it in place anyways, as long as it's like a linear movement. I'm not exactly sure. Skylar's the expert, but from my experience, it's always been it has to be in place. If I ever animated something out of the capsule with root motion, I've always had to counter animate the root motion to keep the character in place and export it in like one slot.
I think for locomotion sets, it's usually done in place.
Yeah.
I actually have never seen like a cycle gone forward like that.
I've seen some. I know there is some advantage on like stride warping and IK feed and stuff like that, but I don't know exactly. I don't know enough, and I'm sure we can figure out. The next time we stream, we come with the answer.
Cool.
I think, I mean, the advantage of doing it with root motion is you have full control of the animation itself, as opposed to trying to like lock it in place and then moving it as you want to in engine. So I think like a lot of cinematic style games, like turn-based games where you're not like fully controlling the character, like a JRPG or something, they probably have animation in the root motion. Usually, sometimes maybe. I'm just guessing here.
Cool. I have a question for the chat. Would you guys want to see more of this project, us to continue this as a series and keep just bringing guests and keep evolving the same project? Or no?
I think definitely not no, but yeah, yes, please. Yeah, I can say yes, please. Yes. Yeah. In the event, I learned a lot. Yeah, I didn't know about the game exporter, and then like making the blueprint and animating, like keep remind me. It's a very good
cool.
learning process. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would love to get some guests, some other rats to come in and do some, like, we're gonna make sure we can share this project with all of us internally here, and then we can get Chaz, Skylar to come in and do some magic stuff, and we can just keep going. Sequence tutorial. I was thinking next time to do a level sequence, like an intro cinematic. That would be pretty cool.
Cool, cool,
We'll
cool.
get a different rat to do
Kinda
different
interesting.
animation every
Yeah,
week or every
love it.
time.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I will make sure to put the video in VOD and also YouTube so you guys can rewatch again. Yeah. Awesome, you guys. Yes, yes. Yeah. Cool. So you guys okay or no more question? It's good?
Hang out for 2 more minutes.
2 more
in case Any other
minutes?
questions
Yeah.
pop up?
Any more question? You guys good? Yeah, we're gonna try to do stream like maybe monthly, so we will try, but let's see. So more open.
Cool.
Yeah. So thank you so much
Awesome,
for
guys.
coming the stream, and then we will do again. See you guys. Thank you, everyone.
We need to do sign off, Scaly.
Okay, I did it. Okay.